Hello, it's Lee. Well, as the title will suggest, this video is going to be about a very popular and seemingly rather common phenomenon in this, well, I don't want to say just in this era, it's probably existed through all history. Now that with the advent of the internet and whatnot, we're able to share our stories and see that it is indeed a common occurrence. So I am talking about two things. The first one is going to be disappearing object phenomenon, and the other one is going to be suddenly manifesting object phenomenon, if I'm going to call it that. So for those who don't know, I guess it's often called the Doppler effect, DOP, disappearing object phenomenon. Disappearing objects have to do simply with an object, an item, a solid object that you have in your possession in your house or whatnot that just simply disappears, and you know for a fact that it wasn't just misplaced or is hiding, like it fell under the couch or it fell behind a crevice or whatever the case. This is actually something that you know for 1001% where it was placed, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So the reason how you can, I guess, discover that that's the case is because, first of all, yes, you know that it was missing, and then it suddenly reappears in a very random and bizarre place that you passed by and searched and checked, and all of a sudden it's there. So I'm going to give my own experience. I'm going to give two experiences, and this will help to validate and promote the idea. If anybody has had experiences like this, you'll know that I'm telling the complete truth. There's no lies at all. And verify it with lots of searches, because you know this, like I said, this is a very common thing. So in one of my experiences, the first one, I had a CD. The particular CD in question is in the car, and my wife has the car. She is off with the kids to the grandparents, so good for me, I get to have a little break. And any young parent with young kids knows this. But so the CD in question is not at hand, but I'm going to use this CD here just for an example, just to show something. It was a music CD. It was a CD that it was an interesting concept. There was a great musician named Bradfield, and he partnered up with a French artist, L'Orange, I believe I'm saying that right, and they did a meeting of the heavenly angelic spirits meeting the elemental spirits of the earth, and it's called Within Our Reach. It's a very cool CD. It's very rare to find, but I recommend it. Really nice music, nice classical music, blended in with sort of a modern tone, but really nice. And this incident didn't happen in my house here. It happened in the apartment my wife and I had before we bought this house. And we had a computer room that was set up, and before our son was born, that's where we had all of our entertainment. We had two computers, and you know, we'd watch movies and do music and whatever, kind of our chill out room, and the rest of the house was more like, you know, conventional living room, kitchen, blah blah blah. So in this computer room I play lots of music and whatnot. So the CD in interest was on my desk, and it was in a spot that I knew where it was, because I believe I had just played it and taken it out, or I was about to play it, one or the other. And when I went to search for it, suddenly it was gone. And I said, that's strange. So I asked my wife if she put it somewhere. She said no. So I said, oh, I wonder if some spirit stole it, because we both believe in these things. Oh, sorry, that's a text message. Oh. We were talking about gnomes and fairies and different things, and ironically enough, this CD had to do with that too. So we were saying, well, that's interesting. And I've always had a deep connection with gnomes myself. A lot of people think, oh, it's nonsense, fairy tale. Well, I'll tell you that it's not. And if you start to understand different dimensions and different spiritual realms of existence, then you'll start to appreciate. The five physical senses in our physical living understands an extremely limited case, but our mind is able to perceive things that are higher. So that's just my suggestion, to throw that out there. But anyway, for whatever case or whoever did it, the CD did go missing. Now here is the interesting part. After asking for, because we had done online research, and we had heard that the recommended thing to do is ask for it back. Because if the object was taken and disappeared, then it likely is still bound to the area, and the spirit cannot leave with it somewhere else. It would probably have to. It's like it's anchored to the residence or the place from which it took it, and therefore it needs to return it before it can move on. So, excuse me. So basically, that's what we did. I asked for the object back as it went around the house, and lo and behold, the next day it was in a completely random spot in a cleared off, I believe it was a cleared off coffee table just sitting there. And we had checked that room dozens of times, and lo and behold, there it was. It returned. I had a friend, well, if you want to see it, I guess an acquaintance online on on a paranormal website, and she was saying how there was a picture of hers taken, and we had discussed things, and I shared my experience, and I said to her, okay, well, did you check the whole house through and through? It's not just a case of it just, falling under the bed or whatnot. And she said, no, checked under the bed 1,000 times, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, ask for it back, and maybe you'll see, and it'll come back, let me know. And she had said that there was, her young son had seen an entity in the basement that looked like he called Santa Claus. I guess it was, an older man with a big white beard. So there was entity, had something to do with that house, a spirit that was staying with that house, and it had something to do with someone that had died across the street, oddly enough. So as if the spirit transferred to that house. I believe that's correct. And something about the spirit of a dog too, I believe. And anyways, the son was saying this, and maybe it was a picture of a dog, actually. Yes, I think it was a picture of a dog, and the spirit of the old man was attracted to it. Maybe he had a dog and it looked like his dog from the past or something. Anyways, to make a long story shorter, I told her, well, try to ask for it back, because that worked for me. And then she did that, and lo and behold, there the picture was, under the bed, close to the edge of the bed, where she had looked 1,000,000 times, and there it was the next day. So, excuse me, this is actually a common occurrence. So if it does happen to you, and you're wondering, and it's a case of it, disappearing, and not just, there it is under the table. Like, it's actually something that just, demanifested, for lack of a better word, then yes, you can talk with the spirits in the area, and you can ask for it back, and I believe that they are bound, that they have to give it back. There's very few cases where something just disappears and never returns. It'll often be found, maybe it'll be found years later when you're moving or whatnot, but there's nothing that just disappears and it's gone forever, as far as I'm concerned. It will be bound to the house, and the spirit will have to return it to the dimension that we live in. So that's the story on that. Do research on it. If you don't want to take my word for it, then that's very fine. If you want to mock my testimony, that's very fine. But please do some more research and think deeply upon it before you just wish to dismiss it. Because this is a world, this is a multi-dimensional world that we exist within, and there are lots of things we don't know, and there are lots of mysteries to be discovered waiting for us. So that's my testimony. A CD that disappeared, and I asked for it to come back, and it came back in a different spot in plain view. So it was returned by somebody, whoever took it. So that's pretty cool. My other story now is going to be a little bit different, and there might not be a lot of people familiar with this one. And I have here this object I just wrapped it up now. I'm going to have to wrap it up in something better, because I want to protect this. It's very important because of the nature of what happened. So do the research on this one too, but I'm going to tell you my story. And I'll tell you a testimony of a very famous yogi who had the same thing happen to him. And then you can go and search and see for yourself. This is called, in my own terms, suddenly appearing or suddenly manifesting object phenomenon. So here it is. This is my story, and this is, if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. Why would I go on YouTube and make a fool of myself? This is a very true story. Please look in my eyes and please understand that I'm telling you the truth. Before I met my wife and moved to Gatineau on the Quebec side, I had for a good 8 or 10 years lived in an apartment in Ottawa on Booth Street. It's kind of near Chinatown and kind of near Little Italy. And very nice area to live in. I like that apartment. I have a lot of fond memories. A lot of my spiritual awakening took place. The majority of my spiritual awakening took place in that apartment in my 20s. From I guess from 19, 20 years old, 19 or 20 to about 28. I guess about 28 when I moved into my wife's apartment. I mean, we married shortly thereafter. So my brother lived with me in that apartment on and off. My younger brother. I'm the eldest. I have one sibling, and I believe this was a period that he was not with me. And I wasn't a rich guy. I didn't have tons of elaborate, I didn't have lots of everything. And even if I did have the money, I wouldn't have wanted lots of. I don't like lots of objects. It gets confusing to manage it. Anyways, what happened was this: opening my cupboards to get coffee in the morning, or as I do now, or a glass of water, whatever the case. Just opening, my regular habit. Right in front of me, in a spot that was like right in my face, was this object, and I'm going to show it to you now. I never had this object before. I was the only one in my apartment. There was nobody that snuck in at 3 in the morning ever so quietly and placed it there and then snuck out. At least not a human entity. This is the object. This is a Jewish, I hope I say it correctly, Yotzeit candle. And this is a candle of mourning, meaning when someone passes on, you mourn, you feel sad for them. I'm not talking about like the mourning in the beginning of the day. This is a Jewish mourning candle. And here. And yes, I did burn it. It was not burnt. It's a candle in a glass, and the white wax was about perhaps yay high. I did burn this. I regret that I burned it too quickly and unceremoniously. I was maybe 23 years old, I think. And this, according to the sticker, it says it comes from Concord, Ontario. I've never been there. I don't even know Concord existed until until now, basically, because I reread it. And anyways, this, and guess what time of year it was when this appeared in my cupboard? It was Easter time. Now a lot of people are being duped. There is a double sabotage going on people right now. Now, first of all, there is an awakening for people to realize that there have been oppressive governments, oppressive religions, etc. But I'm telling you the truth. A person, oh, there's my phone ringing. It's verifying. It's probably my wife calling, but I'll call her back in a minute. The truth of a mystic, the truth of a shaman, the truth of someone that actually encounters the other side, the truth and the conviction and the testimony of a mystic, and I am one. I'm not a fantastically great giant one, but I am one. And there are lots of people able to deal with the other side in basic ways and in great grandiose ways. I'm telling you the truth that there is an extremely powerful light that works in this universe. It has a will, and it sees things done. It is the overmaster, it is the overlord. It is what you call God. Now, I'm not talking about a cheesy Catholic church, put the roof on everybody and control them in a box. You see, that's the sabotage. That people are saying, oh, well, all this time religion was just a lie and yada yada yada. Well, I'm telling you that isn't it very convenient in these last times, and the earth is about to change big time, believe me if you don't. It is very soon. In these last times, isn't it just convenient that the Da Vinci Code came out and, oh, Jesus is made up and it's a lie. It's just astrology. Depends how you read it. All these things are being said, and I understand that. It's tricky times. We're living in tricky times. But I'm actually saying something to you right now. A person that, and there are many, a person that actually tries to join with the light, tries to engage with the other side, a person that realizes that they are more spirit and they are more soul than their body. It is not my body that's going to resurrect. It is my soul that's going to graduate from living in such an existence as this. And thence I will get a new body. That's what the resurrection is about. The early church talked about reincarnation and astrology, and all these things are involved in it. But I'm saying don't just be sabotaged, because there's a double maneuver going on. So be very careful about that. This object, and I am telling the truth, you don't want to believe me, that's your choice. These things are difficult subject matters, but I'm telling you the truth. This object manifested itself, and I'm surprised I still have it. It didn't disappear yet. Or maybe it won't, I don't know. Disappeared in my house, bam, overnight. No one put it there. And this is a miracle. So I'm going to put that away for now. Another great testimony, if you don't want to take mine, I hope that you do, I am telling you the truth. A great testimony comes from the famous yogi, a man who came from, he was Bengali in India, and he came over to the Americas and was one of the main proponents of yoga to introduce it to the West. And if you don't know him, his name, and I hope I pronounce it correctly in the Bengali tongue, Paramahansa Yogananda. And he wrote a very popular and extremely famous book called, well, it's basically an autobiography of a yogi. And he's writing about himself from his childhood. Well, even before, the beginning of the book says how he has memories of when he was in his mother's womb. And he goes all the way on until his death. One of the best books I've ever read in my life, and extreme impact. And I get a copy and I give it away. I get a copy and I keep giving it away. I'm going to have to keep one for myself permanently. I have a habit of being so generous. I guess it's a good thing. But I got to have to get another copy just for me, I suppose. And anyway, please, if you're interested, check out that book. It is incredible. And the master of this guy, Sri Yukteswar, I hope I'm saying that right. He goes on, he dies eventually of old age and whatnot. And then he comes back from the other side and gives final words and instructions and comfort to Yogananda. His testimony, and you can find the chapter you can find the whole book for free online. But it's nice to buy it, but to have a solid copy. But go online, Autobiography of a Yogi, and the chapter that I think is really awesome is called The Resurrection of Sri Yukteswar. And anyway, great book. So, without going too long on a tangent, to relate to my topic here, a very similar thing happened to Yogananda, where a bangle suddenly appeared. An object that I guess you wear it on the belt or whatnot. Maybe I'm confusing it. Kind of a bracelet type thing for the belt, I'm guessing. And it appeared suddenly, it randomly manifested, and I hope I'm getting the facts right. I believe that after his mother or aunt died, the object demanifested. It suddenly stopped being there, and just as randomly as it appeared. So I can't help but wonder if my object here is going to someday just disappear into thin air. It's very possible, because I don't know. Now, this kind of subject is for people that are very deep into the mystic. This is for people that are very interested in the mystic, interested in many dimensional possibilities, many spiritual acquiescences, and I don't know, many graces that can be given, many miracles. And the two very big black magic spells, and I will call them that, they are occult. Two very bad black magic spells got put on the general populace. The Western world is leading the world still to the day, and the poison in the Western world, not all of it is bad, but the poison in it, there's good and bad to every culture, there's good and bad to every type of overall thought process, conditioning, etc. The poison of the West, not the good parts, the poison of the West did a lot of damage to the whole world. And it took away the sacred. It shrunk the beautiful. Oh, that's not God, that's just science, it's evolution. Very dangerous black magic. A lot of people bought it, a lot of people are still deep within that binding. And yes, the other black magic spell that is very treacherous and dangerous is the shrinking of the knowledge of God as concerns to spiritually. The churches and different religions did a lot of damage to people. There was a real prophet, a real good holy saint, and then the church or the religion decapitated it, shrunk and condensed, and made a very stupid, narrow religion for people to follow. And a lot of people bought it. So much so that they're so addicted to it that you tell them, or you try to tell them otherwise. And I know I used to be a very staunch Christian, without allowing for other things until I woke up a bit more. And yeah, a lot of damage, but I guess that will be another topic. I don't want this video too long. It's too long already. Maybe people get bored fast. I understand that. There's too many videos to watch. I understand that. But again, to represent the CD, this is not the actual CD, but this is the actual object. This is... It's too good to be true. It's too miraculous to be explained, and I don't know what to tell you, but this is true. So, if you have something, if you experience the Doppler effect, disappearing object phenomenon, ask for it back and see what happens. It's a very real thing. And if something suddenly manifests for you, don't do what I did. I burned this candle, not even thinking I should have done it at a more appropriate time and this and that. And I'm gonna hold on to it until maybe it disappears. Who knows? But anyway, it's funny that I'm showing this on YouTube, but I feel now it's not a time for secrets with the end of the world so close as per the shift of things that's gonna happen soon, and it is happening. It's not time to hold secrets, it's time for everything to come out of the bag. So I'll make myself a clown for everybody and appear like a fool. Half the world is gonna laugh at somebody like me. That's fine, I've accepted it. You know, like David Icke, I don't really give a damn what the dark side thinks of me anymore, and I don't want any poisonous words to bring me down. That's basically it. So yes, this is real. Please believe me. Do your own research on it. I have to quote the great shaman Red Elk. Don't take my word for it. Go and look for yourself. Go and look for yourself. See if it's true. When you start to see there's a switching of the radio in your mind. As soon as you say to yourself, I'm not going to say anymore, no way, it's not true, science proves it away, or or some such thing. When you say, I guess it's possible because I don't know all the mysteries of the world. As soon as you make that agreement in your mind, then you're going to be surprised at things that might happen to you. They can be incredible. There are people that could tell you things that you would never believe, maybe, because they're too impressive. They're too great. And we're taught to shrink and condense and put on the negative. Watch out for those black magic spells. My testimony is truth. When I speak on these videos or anytime, I'm telling the truth. In my eyes, in my heart, in my being, I'm telling the truth. And take that as my binding word or not. It's up to you. But this is real. Go and look for yourself, and that's my speech for this morning. Peace, love, namaste, etc. Have a good one.